it was a little bit of an eye opener.
That's not too bad. Pretty good. That's pretty good, Chris.
Are we going?
Yeah, but not until really for another couple of minutes. So
there we go. I got all my things.
All right, well, I only have one. I only have one coffee. So did you get one of the new?
I did.
So you're in for a real Italian treat.
I bet it's hot.
Yeah. Well, it is coffee, so. So there. I was looking at my ridiculous push broom mustache today, and I'm like, it needs another couple weeks to really get.
What are you going for?
Well, I'll tell you. I'll tell you exactly what I'm going for. There's a picture of somebody who, this was probably back in the 70s, that had long hair and a mustache and like was leaning against a Camaro and probably had like a shirt with no sleeves and a number on it, or I just had a pencil. Anyway, I'm going to see this person in May, and I actually want to, if I can find an old Camaro, I want to like see if I can get a picture of me leaning up against it. So
I don't think if I know of anybody that had. How old of a Camaro does it have?
Well, I mean, it's got to be it's not like an IROC, which is its own level of coolness, but it's probably like a 68.
Yeah, I was going to say, whenever somebody says
cool Camaro,
cool Camaro, it's a 66 through 68.
And there's bound to be somewhere I could go to like, hey, can I pay you guys $10 to let me take a picture leaning on your Camaro, and then you can run over.
I think just drive by, when you get close, just start driving by every Dairy Queen in town.
Oh, yeah.
And you'll find one.
That's a really good idea.
Really, it's not every Dairy Queen. It's only a couple that you have to.
You only have to find one.
Well, yeah.
Hey, everybody, it's Matt, and we're at Texas Toast Guitars, and it's time for Shooting the Breeze with the TTGs. So let's start shooting.
Okay.
And so I'm glad to see that Mike Sleva is here, because
he sort of inspired this.
He absolutely did. He sent me a message, or he commented on the video yesterday, and he said that he took a friend of his so this buddy of his had a 70s, I can't remember, Telecaster, I think. And he wanted to replace it. And he went to, how's it good? He went, they both went to like a famous guitar joint, and they had a wall of them, 70s tellies.
Okay.
And
so real vintage 70s.
Absolutely, yeah, the real deal.
The story yesterday.
And he was like, well, gosh, these aren't really as good as I remember. Now that's not what Mike said, but that's kind of what I took from it.
Okay. Because he wanted one, but he didn't leave with one.
I don't know that they did or didn't.
Oh, okay.
Mike
could tell us.
Yeah. And he very well may.
Our version of the story is he didn't leave with a.
Well, yeah, because you can never really go back home, right? Like, do you remember the I don't know, everybody says like, oh, the pizza that we had at the cafeteria at school or whatever. I love that stuff. Well, but if you were to eat it now, would you be like, ugh, this is just some crappy
Little Caesars?
Maybe on a good day, that's what you would have.
Yeah.
So, and I wonder, like, Jim's Strat that everybody loves. If he didn't have that, but wanted to get that, I don't know what that guitar is worth. Let's say $20,000. I don't, because I don't know.
All right.
If you had to pay $20,000 for it, would you be like, the nut has this thing on it that I don't like, because that's a lot of money for something. And so what are you willing to put up with? But more to the point, what are you willing to pay for? But before we get too far into the weeds here, let's take a super chat from Paul Hall, who says, can I have some merch delivered to you for me to take home in August? Yes, absolutely, Paul. Why?
And we'll only wear it once or twice.
That's right.
Yeah, people ask that.
And by the way, Mike says he did not buy one.
Okay. Yeah. And it doesn't necessarily mean that it was because of the guitars. It just meant he didn't.
Yeah.
Whatever.
We don't know.
But
it did make me think of it.
Lots of issues that those guitars are sort of known for.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was sort of the idea.
Yeah.
He said they all had a gap in the neck pocket you could push a business card into.
Something like that.
Like that. Yeah. And that's always been something that people have talked about is sloppy neck pockets on CBS era guitars for Fender.
And I'd imagine you could find a new Fender that has that, or an old Fender. I don't know.
They pay quite a bit of attention to that kind of thing now. But yeah, you probably can.
Brian Duncan, who is here in the shop with us, says that he's paying his late fee. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Is it Wednesday?
When he's here, he should just bring.
I think it's Wednesday. Is it Wednesday or Tuesday?
It's Wednesday. That's
I think
why
it's
that taco was
Wednesday.
so cheap yesterday.
Okay.
Oh, that's right. Oh shit.
You know when you
I wasn't here Monday.
Holy cow! How did I was even sitting there yesterday going, "Oh, we should have come on Tuesday."
You guys are nuts.
Well,
You made me think about it. Yeah.
I was like, "Ooh, that ground beef taco was only $2.50. That's
Should have got a
She must
couple
have
of
hooked
them.
me up.
Yeah, she did. She likes you.
If I did, if I'd known that, I'd just gotten those.
All right, so Chris, what are you? And I don't know the answer to this. What are you willing to overlook or accept, and what are you willing to pay for? Or I have things that I've had people do for me, and I'm like, I'm not really 100% jazzed about that little thing right there, but I'm not going to make a big stink about it. I'm just going to.
I think that's kind of I think you have to look at things as a whole. The other thing I think is that people don't. I think with certain brands, they're willing to accept certain things about them and still buy them. For decades, we've heard about Gibson's quality control.
Okay.
And yet here we are. Gibson still sells plenty of guitars. And by all accounts, Gibson guitars sell really well. The reason that Gibson was in financial straits was because of the other decisions they made regarding other things that they bought into.
Oh,
but
okay.
It wasn't the guitars.
Yeah.
Guitars for Gibson always sell really well.
Some guitars for Gibson always sell very well.
Yeah, despite the quality control issues.
Mike sent us a super chat and says he's behind on his dues. Thank you very much, Mike. I appreciate that.
Oh, good. It's fly season here in the shop. Despite people talking negatively about 70s era Fenders, now all of a sudden 70s era Fenders, and it's been for a while, are a thing.
Do you remember when
I would never buy one of those? Yeah. You can buy a 64 for a lot less, and that pre-CBS thing is creeping into 66 now, which is bullshit. Well, the 65s were built in the original factory, and it wasn't until 66 that they moved and really started changing things.
That sounds like a cool way to justify a purchase that you wouldn't have justified at 2 decades previous.
Yeah. There was a pretty firm cutoff date early on.
I've gotten a lot of people asking me about or telling me about 72, 71, 68 Gibson, this, that, and the other. And I'm like, I remember when those just used to be like cheap guitars. I remember passing on a 70s Les Paul with a maple neck at a garage sale. This was in 80 something. The guy wanted like $300 for it. And I'm like, no way. Why would I want a Les Paul with a maple neck? And okay, I get why one would the whole Mick Ronson thing, but yeah, like a Les Paul to me, I love maple necks, I really do. But a Les Paul to me has a mahogany neck, not a maple neck. So.
And you thought you might be criticized for thinking that guitar was pretty cool if you purchased it. And $300 wasn't a lot of money, but it was money.
Yeah.
Back then. And why would I want to do this when maybe right around the corner is a good one.
Yeah, I mean, and back then I don't even remember what a Les Paul standard went for in 1988, but it was more than $400, but it wasn't, you know,
right about
$3
the time
grand.
I started wanting to buy guitar. Let's just say that wanting to buy guitars. Still didn't really have any money. Had enough to buy a really bad Harmony Strat at a pawn shop that took complete advantage of me.
When you're 18 or 19, you don't have a bunch of discretionary income to throw around at expensive guitars. Some people do, I'm sure, but I didn't.
Yep. And that shop is still in business. Well, I still resent it.
Well, so let me ask you this, Chris. What are you willing to put up with, and what are you not willing to put up with?
What am I? So I'm not willing to put up with playability issues.
Even though that might be the easiest thing for someone like you.
Well, let's say serious playability issues.
Twisted neck.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or really gummed up frets or gouged out frets that you know you're gonna have to put new frets in.
Okay.
Are
you talking about new guitar or okay?
Well, used guitars, new guitars. I mean, finished things happen. I think I could find a flaw in virtually any guitar.
Who's the worst offender?
Matter.
And you and I both know it's Rickenbacker.
Oh yeah,
Rickenbacker guitars and basses are loaded.
I did not look at that.
Issues.
I did not look at that Rickenbacker bass the other day specifically for that reason. That idea came to me, and so I took a cursory glance at it from a distance. First of all, no, I did pick it up and held it, but I didn't eyeball it like I might on some other stuff, and I've stopped doing that when I look at guitars, unless that's the goal, is to find something.
There's always something.
There's always something, and so I try not to do that because I don't appreciate it when people do that to our stuff. And sometimes I think we, as small builders and other small builders too, get unfairly criticized for very, 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 very small issues that happen. And if you start looking at other guitars, they all have the same little things.
Perfection in a handmade anything is always the goal, but it's I don't think I will ever be able to build a guitar that I feel like, okay, there's absolutely nothing wrong with this guitar.
Nothing went haywire from A to B.
Now, I'm not suggesting that there's anything wrong with this guitar, but if I looked long enough, I'm sure I could find something that I was like, I kind of wish the bridge height was different and the neck rake was or whatever, or I kind of wish I don't know. I have no idea. Is there anything? I mean,
I'm not going to point it out.
Do you know something about that? Because I don't. Yeah.
No, I don't know anything on this one.
But I'm looking at this guitar and I'm like, I don't think I could build something better. Like this is as close to a perfect guitar we've ever built as we've ever built.
And we build more often than not. They're this.
This is kind of what
the other funny thing is I am intimately aware of everything going on with this guitar, and that fades slowly over time. So if I was to see this guitar 6 months from now or a year from now, anything that I might have remembered about it, I will have forgotten.
Yeah.
And I would either have to find it again or all of a sudden remember.
You know, there was a guy, it's a YouTube short, and it was some guy who's like a famous YouTube guitar dude. He was doing like what your favorite guitar brand says about you. And if he's like any boutique guitars that you don't mind if there's a bunch of scratches and dings and gouges. I'm like, what the hell are you looking at? But like, this guy's a butthead. He doesn't know anything. So if you watch him, tell him that Matt at Texas Toast Guitars said he's a butthead.
Yeah, well, and if you're a boutique builder and you think that's okay, then
it's not.
You're probably not selling a lot of guitars.
Okay.
So somebody actually told me, you told me to be honest.
Yeah.
Dylan went to that big guitar show in Nashville. He sent me a text and he said, "Fun fact, most small builders don't know how to sand."
That I would believe that.
And I thought I said, that's both hilarious and sad at the same time, because I think it might be true.
Let's go to the comment section, Chris, and see what's going on. Robbie, Robbie F knows Mike Ness from Soldier. From Soldier Distortion. Yeah, from Social Distortion.
I would have said it wrong again.
Yep. Mike says that guitar is beautiful. Thank you, Mike. 3J Music, for the record, I haven't found anything wrong with either guitar I bought from you guys. Thank you, sir. That's very kind.
Good. And I would. One of the funny things is I know people that as soon as they get a guitar, instead of getting it out of the case or whatever and setting it on a stand or on the couch or sitting down with it and strumming it and playing it, immediately start eyeballing that guitar.
Just start looking for shit.
They have minutes to find something wrong with it before they can send it back. Yeah, this guitar is guaranteed to be free from defects for 30 seconds
of any kind.
Opening. Yeah, and that's not the way to look at it. It's like when you go to the car dealership, you don't run up to the car and start looking at every single seam and crease on it.
Can you imagine how
and go,
if people actually didn't buy cars because of that, how few cars would be sold?
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Yeah. I like to bring my digital calipers with me and measure all the door seams and gaps, but it's a car show thing, but it's not a new car thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. Brad Guitar Miller says this that his Texas Toast is one of his favorites. The Blueberry Burst is my absolute favorite I've seen from you. Thank you, Brad. Brian reminds everyone that that's the guitar Greg Koch is playing in that video that the guys at Wildwood did for us.
Yep.
Brad Guitar Miller sent us $5 and says Brian made him do it. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Brad. Both Mike Sleva and Dan Andrada says that their TTGs are perfect. So I guess, and this wasn't like a video where our guitars are great, everybody else's has an issue.
The idea.
But what are you willing to? I mean, obviously, if it needs new strings.
So if it's new, I mean, a little bit of setup stuff's fine, a little bit of fret work. I think virtually every guitar, at least for my peace of mind, I like to run the guitar through the fret leveling and crowning process.
Yeah.
Or at least check it. Now every guitar I've done that to has needed something.
Joy and I actually just completed a video where I did some fret leveling and some fret dressing on a neck. And it's funny, people think, I can get a neck from Warm Up, a great company, by the way, and it doesn't need anything. Well, yeah, you could probably get away with
that now. Yeah.
They what?
I think the neck might even come with something that says this neck probably needs. It doesn't say probably, but
don't be surprised if a little bit of fine tuning is needed.
You should probably think about a fret level and crown
and you won't need a bunch of work. Just a little quick touch up. Well, on the neck that we worked on in the video, there was one fret that rocked like a tiny bit, and a little bit of 400 grit on a block took it all away. So
yep, and then crown it, polish it. Bingo bango. Bob's your uncle.
Yep. Robbie F says, I always expect a guitar to need a setup and new strings, especially if it travels across the ocean in a container. Yeah, that's probably.
Well, yeah, I think the string thing for sure. I think most guitars come with strings you don't want anyway. But even if I get a new guitar, I'll play it a little bit with the original strings on it,
just to see.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
But then is the time to, after you've played it a little bit to get to work.
Vintage guitar, man, it sure is easier to go, I've had this for 50 years. It's gonna, I'm intimately familiar with it. If I had to spend $30, $40, $100,000 to replace it, I might not. I might just go ahead and get the new one. And so I'm going to retract my statement of I want the vintage guitar if I can only have. I think that the new stuff really is pretty cool. And if I could go back and look at all the guitars that I wish I still had that I sold or something, if I could get them for the same money today as I paid for them back in 1983, okay, I might do that. But they're probably worth more now. So.
Yeah. I think manufacturing has gotten a lot more consistent. So more guitars are better right out of the box.
Yeah.
But I think, old stuff. Some of it's been well taken care of, and things have been fixed that needed fixing, and others have just fallen apart and gotten worse and worse and worse. I bet everybody out there knows somebody on a forum that got, let's just say, an old guitar, not even a vintage guitar, and proceeded to basically ruin that guitar. Right? Yeah.
Example.
So many. Whatever it is. Oh, I decided I want to put this new neck on it, but the neck didn't fit, so he started grinding on the neck pocket. Did I say wanted to replace the neck pocket? Want to replace the neck. The neck didn't fit, so they started grinding on the neck pocket. They end up with a big offset gap, it didn't. Not shimming the neck backwards, but machining material off the neck. A lot of neck issues, I think.
Yeah.
Just bad ideas. I think I want to put a humbucker in here, but I don't actually own a router. I'm going to do it with this.
I got a chisel.
I don't even have a chisel, but I do have a screwdriver that I'm going to grind on the thing.
I got a new guitar, but I'm not super happy with the color. I really wanted a such and such. I'm just going to strip it and repaint it. Easiest thing in the world,
it's
right?
So easy.
Oh, yeah, anybody can do it.
Paul says, I got to go pick up my sainted wife from work. This is a good time of day for the chat. Catch y'all later. Thank you, Paul. I'm glad that you're able to hang out with us.
Good.
Brad says, I totally ruined the value of a 64 Melody Maker by changing the tuners. Really? Oh, maybe you drilled new holes or something,
maybe.
Okay.
That's
what about that thing that, what's his name, left here with the stickers all over the decal?
Yeah. He didn't do that, and I have no idea what that guitar looked like before.
Stickies.
Whoever did that. I wouldn't have done that, but hey.
And it's not an expensive guitar, but it would have been worth more.
It would have been worth a lot more. Yeah. Well, and that's the other funny thing is a lot of guitars were just old guitars at some point, and nobody thought they'd be worth anything in the future.
It's okay
I lived through that. Where it was a real conundrum. Do I buy vintage, new, or new used? For basically the same guitar, because it was all $300 and $400 differences as you marched up. So.
All right, gang. Well, we've got a bunch of work to do, so we are going to get back to it. We'll see you tomorrow for some other wildly fun topic
that we think of 10 minutes before.
Yeah, and you guys, if you guys have any ideas for topics,
topics that you want us to,
like for example, Mike, he was like he didn't even know he was going to inspire.
That's exactly
us
right. Yeah, you win a prize, Mike. Yay for Mike!
It's an MRE.
That's it.
It's an MRE that I've had in the upper. You can collect it when you get here.
Beef stew or bean burrito.
I'm not giving away the beef stew MREs ever. Those are one of the best. Okay, guys, we'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day, everybody.